Housing market is struggling to keep up. For many, owning a home is a key part of the American dream. But for the average person, that dream is becoming harder to realize.
And as we wrap up our summer housing series, 10 Investigates Emerald Morrow looks into the growing homeownership gap and why it's so hard to close.
For each new luxury skyscraper that goes up, there's growing fear among some that home prices and rent might never come down.
We're talking $700,000, $1 million just to buy a basic home. And we don't make that kind of money.
Meet Carla Correa of St. Pete. She's an advocate for affordable housing and knows firsthand the struggles of finding a decent place to live.
I make $40,000 per year. I spend 50% of my income on rent.
Skyrocketing prices are pushing renters to the fringes. And for younger generations, high costs are squeezing them out of the housing market altogether.
And I'm 24 years old. Nobody I know is thinking about buying a house. Millennials, buying a house is a pipe dream.
It has changed significantly.
It's something Realtor Keela McCaskill says she sees all the time.
But a lot of them are not able to purchase in this market if they don't have, if they're not one of the certain type professionals or have parents that can contribute to the purchase. They're simply not able to buy them.
And for those, young and old, who can, options are limited.
You may not be able to get your first choice. And for some, that's unfortunate. You may not get your second choice, but by the time you get to the third option, you might be able to secure what you would call your piece of the American dream.
And sometimes that third option is in a neighborhood undergoing rapid change.
For example, in Soho. You may not be able to move in Soho because of the price, so you have to boot on over to NoHo, which is really West Tampa. So now you can find a home in West Tampa that's rebranded some of it. NoHo, it's less expensive in terms of taxes, it's less expensive in terms of insurance, and it's likely a lower price to purchase the home.
But as people move in and values rise, McCaskill says longtime residents might find themselves pushed out.
In Tampa, particularly neighborhoods like West Tampa, that predominantly affected a lot of the Black, indigenous people of color.
It's something Ron Presley knows well. We first met him 7 years ago on his front porch in West Tampa as the neighborhood was beginning to change.
What they're saying is that we're changing the neighborhood and making it more attractive to live. But it's all about the dollar. It's all about what they're going to make off of it.
Today, he lives in a different Tampa neighborhood, but observes the hold gentrification has on West Tampa.
The neighborhood I love, if you don't have the income, you can't go in there. You will not be able to move in there. The price of housing has more than doubled in West Tampa.
It's a microcosm of the larger housing landscape, with median home prices above $380,000. Data suggests in parts of the Tampa Bay area, you might need a down payment of more than $180,000 to keep mortgage payments from eating more than 30% of your income.
It's hard for anybody to buy a home. But it's even harder for Black people because you got to look at the median income.
High costs also play a role in widening the racial home ownership gap. According to the Tampa Bay Partnership, of all the counties in our area, Black households in Hillsborough County have the lowest rate of home ownership. The Urban Institute says economics do play a part, but says it's also rooted in structural racism. The Institute says, quote, redlining, restrictive covenants, and other explicitly racist policies limited home ownership for Black families, while the GI Bill and other policies enacted in the aftermath of World War II supported home ownership for white families.
Black and brown people are disproportionately impacted by the system because of the legacy of slavery, racism, Jim Crow, all of the history that has gone into this country. It still lingers today.
Emerald Morrow, 10 Investigates.
We should point out here that realtors say the market won't always be as tough and that aspiring home buyers should still prepare themselves for ownership by doing things like building credit, minimizing debt, and having consistent employment.
Chief